All right, welcome back to Onebar and Lupagus Show. I'm Onebar special guest JTuck. Got to talk the Nahshon Wright Andrew Booth trade, and there's nobody else I would rather go to. I messaged him right away. I'm like, dude, can you hop on? He's like, give me 20 minutes. I'm like, God, JTuck continues to show why we love this man. JTuck, welcome back to the show. It's been a bit.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And anytime you guys need me, I'm more than happy to hop on because you guys are taking great care of my linebacker and Ivan Pace. You know, I know we made one trade. If you guys want to make another, I'm completely open to listening to offers. But thanks for having me on.
Yeah, Ivan Pace is taking care of us, man. Dude's a dog. He's a dirty dog, and he's fantastic. And I know how much you love him. I texted Lupagus. I said, I'm hopping on with JTuck, and I think Lupagus loves you as much as you love him. Pace. He was very jealous, not happy about what's about to happen because he's at work. But yeah, Nahshon Wright, man. I got a lot of questions. But first, before I get into that, I mean, you mentioned Nahshon. Just as a guy, how is he?
Great guy, man. Great guy. Fun to be around. He's hard worker, very hard, hard nosed, like lunch pail type of player, right? So you're not gonna hear him a lot. He's not gonna get into any trouble or anything like that, man. He's gonna go out there and do his job and really roll up his sleeves and get it how he lives. Whether that's going to be, line up for you guys playing the cornerback position or just help assist on special teams. Like, he's going to do it all. Comes from a good family. We kind of hate to lose Mama Wright, but take care of her Vikings Nation, but good people. For those of you who don't know, like, his brother and Nahshon, they were on Last Chance U, and I forget the seasons, but it's the one that was out in California, right? So you might know his brother Rajon, who plays for the Saints. So, kind of knowing their backstory and kind of how they worked their way up to both being NFL draft picks. And, when it comes to Nahshon Wright, first thing that stood out is the size, man. He looks like he should be in the NBA when you're standing up next to him. So about 6'4", has long arms. He really fit the prototypical type of what Dan Quinn liked, but Dan Quinn is no longer here. So, I think what really happened, what kind of sparked the Cowboys to make this trade is that, we have some young guys coming in. We have the return of Trayvon Diggs. It was really hard for him kind of to find where is he going to fit in this year for us. But I think he's going to add instant value to your defense, and you guys are going to be lucky to have him.
Well, and that's that kind of brings up the main question is, like, for us, Andrew Booth, the fact that he was traded, I don't think anybody's surprised. It was to the point where he probably wasn't going to make the 53. Mm-hmm. So when the news came down, I'm like, wow, I can't believe we got something for him. So instantly I'm like, why are the Cowboys trading Wright? I mean, is that what it is? A scheme fit? There's just nowhere for him?
Yeah, well, this is based off the conversations that I had. I think after our scrimmage yesterday, the reps just haven't been there, right? And you got to be realistic because you have Trayvon Diggs returning. Then you have, Jordan Lewis, who returns to the Dallas Cowboys. He's going to play inside, outside. Then you also have Deron Bland, who set the league on fire. So that's 3. And then we also drafted Kalen Carson this year out of Wake Forest. And, man, he's looking like he can be an instant starter. So that's 4, right? And then you have, like, Eric. So, for Nahshon being the guy that you drafted in 2021, he's a Dan Quinn guy. He has size. He has athleticism. But what was he really going to fit and get the reps? And I think that, for what I've heard in-house is that the Vikings were kind of making inquiries about him, and the Cowboys are willing to keep him. I think that Nahshon ultimately said, okay, if I got to go play and get more opportunity to play, then let's just do it. Spoke to Coach Harris, probably spoke to the Cowboys and said, okay, let's make a swap. And that's why the swap happened today.
All right. Once again, we got JTuck from CFO Sports, almost at 15,000 subs.
We're pushing.
Well done, sir.
Thank you. It's been a long journey. But we're definitely appreciative of every subscriber that we have over there. A lot of work's been done. I mean, when I started in 2020 during the pandemic, never thought I would reach those heights, and look at where here we are, almost 15,000 and millions of viewers all over the world, man. So
hell yeah. Also part of the round table. So we'll be seeing him on there as well. But so Wright's coming to the Vikings, and he's coming to a situation where the depth chart for corner, it's not very thick. He's got some opportunity here. So is he a guy that you look at as a depth piece? Is he a guy that's never had a chance to really do his thing? Is he a special teamer? Like, I guess my main question is, does he have a chance to compete and play corner in the NFL?
Yeah, 1,000%. Because I think with his size and athleticism and his IQ, Like it's all there. I just think from a depth perspective when it comes to the Cowboys, because even the games where he got to step in and actually play, I mean, he was lights out for us. It's just that, we had Stephon Gilmore last year, and then Deron Bland really set the league on fire. So it's really kind of hard to find out, where was his opportunity going to come from. But he had some big games. And when he gets the opportunity to get on the field, he's lights out, because you got to remember, if you go back to the 2021 draft, the Cowboys drafted a corner in Kelvin Joseph, who we traded last year in that same draft, and we turned around and drafted Nahshon Wright. And if you have to compare the two, Nahshon Wright performed for us. We got a lot more value, who was a later pick than we also got for Kelvin Joseph. So I think that when it comes to Nahshon Wright, he's probably going to compete for a position, maybe not the starting position, possibly out the gate, but he'll definitely be a rotational guy that your defense can rely on. And, I do a lot of draft content on my channel, and you guys, just lost one of my favorite prospects that you guys had in Kyrie Jackson. He has a lot of that in him. He kind of has that size and length and, that little sneaky speed as well. So he has a little Kyrie in him. So that could have been the attraction of why the Vikings were picking up the phone trying to call the Cowboys about the trade.
So with his size, I mean, have they strictly just played him at corner?
Yeah, he just played at corner, right? Because we have another guy, Israel Mukuamu, who was a cornerback at South Carolina, but he's played safety and corner. But yeah, he's been primarily just a corner in Dallas. He hasn't played much safety.
So when Wright came out, I know he came out in 2021, third round.
Mm-hmm.
Was how was that received by the Cowboys fans? Was that a bit of a reach, or is that about where he's supposed to go?
The only reason I don't say it was a reach, it was kind of a head scratcher, because we just drafted a corner in the second round. So it's like, all right, why are we doubling up on corner? So I think that from a head scratching standpoint. Now, me personally being a draft guy, I like Nahshon Wright because of the athleticism, the size, the length, you know what I'm saying? So everything was already there. So I don't think he was the frustrating pick. The guy who went before him was actually the more frustrating pick amongst Cowboys fans. So he was well received. And like I said, he's done a lot of great work. I just don't think that he ever came in with the expectation to be that guy. And I think what's really kind of hurt Nahshon Wright is, okay, you were drafted in 2021. There were some good expectations for you, maybe the 2022 season, but you had this kid in Deron Bland out of Fresno, that same draft class, who just hit the ground running, and then there's your seat, there's your spot. So, I just think that ultimately he just hasn't gotten the opportunity. It's kind of like for you guys that because don't you guys have Xavier Woods, or had Xavier Woods?
We had him.
Had Xavier Woods. Like, Xavier Woods was a good quality guy, play a lot of solid football for the Cowboys, but the opportunity when he went to the Vikings, he's got more reps, and he kind of built into his own. I think he's like in Carolina or somewhere now.
I think he is.
Yeah, so one of those things. So I think Nahshon Wright, once he gets the opportunity for you guys, I think he'll find momentum. Because I mean, last year I remember his camp. I mean, I was like, bro, he's playing outstanding. Like I think he had his best camp in Dallas last season, but it was just like, where are you really going to play?
Yeah, I mean, it's easy for Vikings fans to look at this and think that Wright is just a flyer, some guy that, hey, maybe he'll stick, maybe he won't, because we traded Andrew Booth for him, a guy that really, so like when I hear you talk about him, it almost seems like we got a pretty damn good deal. Not that Booth couldn't turn it around, still a young dude too, but it sounds better than expected, to be honest.
Yeah, and looking at the numbers, right? Because I think Booth was on a 2-year deal, so I think he's going towards 400,000 towards our cap when Nahshon doesn't have any guarantees. So just from a financial standpoint, it doesn't work in the Cowboys' favor. So I think it was really just a ode to Nahshon Wright. Just like, listen, man, it just is what it is right now, and there's no way to kind of fit you in. If you really want the reps, or you really want the opportunity to shine, we're probably going to have to move you, because these young kids that we have, they're just tearing up camp on fire, and we just be dumb if we don't let these guys play. So I think it was more of an ode to Nahshon Wright. But like I said, once it gets out there, because he's smart, IQ, length, he can play the position. Once he gets the opportunity, I think that you guys are really going to like him. Now, the one thing that would be the possible drawback is with his size, he can't turn, because he's 6'4", so he's kind of pterodactyl-ish, but like I said, in coverage, playing press coverage, he's a dog. He's a fighter. He's a scrappy. Like I said, he's a guy that if you say, you know what, we want you on punt team, he's going to be on punt team. If you want to be on this new quirky kickoff, whatever the hell we're calling it right now, he'll go out there and make tackles. I mean, he's had some great, punt blocks for us and some special teams plays that kind of turned the corner for some big games that we had as well. So he's just a very lunch pail type of player that I think you guys are going to like.
I mean, and I don't expect you to know the Vikings roster inside and out, but I'll just paint the picture for you. Like after about the top 3-4 corners, it gets pretty dicey as far as the guy's going to make it. Would you fully expect him to be on a 53?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I would be shocked if I looked up and you guys are like, we waived him or we cut him, didn't make the roster. I think 1000%, even off just special teams alone, you're going to find value in Nahshon Wright. So I would definitely expect him to make the roster because he made the roster every year in Dallas too, as well. It's just,
we'll take it. We need it.
Exactly. Oh yeah. I would definitely solidify his roster spot.
All right, I got to ask you, when you saw this come down and you saw that you were getting Andrew Booth, was it did the needle move for you at all?
Well, funny that you mentioned that. So I'm a big ACC guy, Florida State guy. So Andrew Booth was a pain in my behind while he's playing against my Florida State Seminoles. So I knew who he was coming out of college. I knew he was coming out of Clemson. That's funny. I pulled up an old tweet, but I just pulled it down. I was like, Andrew Booth will let you beat him deep. Michael Gallup needs to abuse him all game. And he kind of did it, so I feel like, but I said overall, it's the same thing when it comes to Nahshon Wright for us. It's like, I don't know where he's going to play. Like, I just don't know unless there's like an injury or something that happens, or maybe it's special teams, but I'm not expecting Andrew Booth to come in and be, starting 4, starting 5 rotation the way things are currently looking right now. If I have to gauge it, he's fighting for our 5th corner spot. So it's kind of like a swap for a swap. Like I said, we're taking the cap hit. So, I think he has some upside potential. He's a guy who's played for a championship contending team in Clemson. He's very solid. He's a good coverage corner guy. But once again, that first layer of corners, I feel like our cornerback position is one of our most solid. So he's going to have to get it in where he fits in with the opportunity. So,
well, he's the perfect scenario of a guy just needing a new start. Like he, for some reason, just did not happen here. He was buried on the depth chart, never got out there. So I'm actually pulling for Booth. I loved when we drafted him in round 2. It just did not pan out whatsoever. And so I got to ask you one final.
Yeah.
What do you think about Mike Zimmer so far? You Zimmer guy?
You know what? I should have came to y'all about this, man. We have to circle back around. So, oh man, it could be a long show. Mike Zimmer, me personally, I wasn't a fan of the initial hire, right? Because I feel like there was more quality defensive coordinators out there that the Cowboys didn't pursue. So they were going to be interested in bringing Dan Quinn back. They let him kind of go out there and moonlight with Seattle and Washington. He came back to the Shrine Bowl, was going to stay in Dallas, and then he just randomly took the Washington job, right? So the entire time he wasn't interviewing any other candidates. And then it was like, oh, who can, Rob Ryan and Rex Ryan was kind of floating out, and they brought in Coach Zimmer. Okay, cool. I'm happy with that out of the 3. So I will say this. I think Coach Zimmer is a phenomenal coach, phenomenal head coach. He's a football savant, defensive mastermind. So he has those traits. My biggest concern is we bring him in, have a whole new defensive staff, but he's on a 1-year prove-it deal. So are you really committed with Coach Zimmer, or is he kind of just a bridge for something new? And then what I really question is how much involvement or leverage do you really have? Because right now we're bleeding at defensive tackle. So can Zim go and say, I need me a big, physical, nasty defensive tackle? I don't think so, right? Because right now he hasn't done that. So it's like that's where my concerns is. But I think from a defensive standpoint, the way that he's going to utilize Micah Parsons is going to be different. He's going to be using that double A gap mug that he's made so famous. He did a lot in the scrimmage yesterday. He was showing Micah Parsons, dropping him in coverage, and sending Eric Kendricks and doing a lot of different things. So I think just having those disguised fronts is going to disrupt the timing with the quarterback to allow us to get pressure. But as of right now, it's like how much can he really be a voice, because he's just on a 1-year deal, and it's just like, are you even going to be here next year? What's the future for Coach Zimmer? So thus far, I like him. I know a lot of people think that he's like fire, hell, and brimstone, but from now he's a little bit older, so he's not what people saw in like Cincinnati, and he's not going to lay into you. But what you're hearing from the players in house is that he expects things to be done his way. And if you're not going to do it his way, he's going to get somebody in who can. So it's going to be interesting to see how that fares out with the Cowboys defense this season.
Now you nailed it. It's either his way or you get in Zimmer's doghouse. You don't see the field, right? You don't practice, you don't do anything. Yeah, I'm a Zimmer guy. It was fun when he was here. He'll give you some wonderful sound clips, and he'll.
There you go.
I'm pulling for. I forgot you guys had Kendricks too, so that's his boy.
Kendricks.
I'm surprised Anthony Barr's not back there.
Yeah, I know, right? Because we had Anthony Barr, and so because there was a lot of talks about some linebacker that you guys had at first originally that was going to be possibly in this trade, Peyton, something like that. Some linebacker people were mentioning. It's like, I don't think that's the case. We're overloaded at linebacker. So yeah, it's just like, yeah, it's his way or the highway. And I think that we need that. We need the discipline. The hardest part with us is we have these people upstairs who kind of likes to put their hand in everything and not really let Zim cook. So that's been my motto all season. Let Zim cook. I don't need you stepping in. So if he needs to chew Micah Parsons out or choose a player out, you stay upstairs and let him really cook, because that's how you're going to get the players to really buy in to your scheme and your philosophy, which I think they already have. So all the players I've had on the show, they speak highly about Coach Zimmer, maybe because they're trying to earn a roster spot. But I think thus far, I like what I'm hearing from Coach Zimmer defensively.
All right, man. Nahshon Wright, we're going to take care of him. We're going to take care of him for you guys. He's going to take care of us. And like I said, Andrew Booth, I like it for him. I like it for the Cowboys. We'll see what happens. But JTuck, greatly appreciate you hopping on. Everybody's link will be down in the description. Get that man up to 15K. It's a big old number. You should be proud of yourself, man.
Yeah, I'm proud. Every subscriber. Never take a subscriber for granted, because we all know in this business, being content creators, we have to work. We have to work. Like, it's crazy now that I have sources. Like, my phone was blowing up today with all this different stuff with Nahshon. And I'm just trying to play some college football 25 today, man. I'm trying to relax a little bit, but there's always something going on, man. So kudos to you guys. Keep doing the great work. I'm sure we'll link on the round table, and appreciate everyone out there.
Sounds good, man. Take care.
Peace.